welcome back to the Goal Line Sand. We have an amazing episode planned for you guys. But first, before I get into it, please hit the like and subscribe. We post daily college football content, and I'm so excited to get into this video. Today, we are talking about how the Alabama Crimson Tide can bounce back from their national championship loss and maybe go win another one this upcoming year. So to start it off with, I have them in my way too early top 10. I have them ranked number 1, and this is because they return a lot of key names. They return the Heisman winner, Bryce Young. They return Will Anderson, arguably the best defensive player in college football this year. Some people say Aiden Hutchinson, but I think all around, at least in my opinion, I just think you have to go Will Anderson on this one. He just plays with such a ferocity, and he's really, really skilled and really, really smart in that aspect. I also think that the Alabama Crimson Tide are only getting better. Now, you have some key additions coming in to Tuscaloosa this year. Jahmyr Gibbs, a 4-star transfer running back from Georgia Tech. He may be small, sitting at 5'9", but he's got hustle, he's got grit, and he's just an all-around good running back. I think that's just the perfect transfer for Nick Saban. You know, he wants to build those guys that they have that extra edge, and I think Jahmyr Gibbs he has that, and that's something that Nick Saban should take advantage of, and especially that offensive coordinator, whoever that may be. And that leaves me to another point. They will have some coaching questions. I know it's a little bit later in the coaching carousel, but Alabama tends to play those later games, the college football playoff, the national championship game. So there will be some questions there on who gets that promotion or who gets that job at the offensive coordinator. Obviously, Bill O'Brien is there on maybe 1 year, fired from the Houston Texans head coaching job, went back to rehab in Tuscaloosa like many coaches do, and is looking to get back into the NFL. He's been interviewing for countless jobs, and I think he probably will get one. If not, he will stay in Tuscaloosa because that's a pretty good job for him, but I'm fairly certain that he will make that step back up to the NFL. So I think there's some task to be at hand for Nick Saban here. I also think that, Nick Saban does an incredible job in the transfer portal, bringing in a former five-star in the transfer portal to Elias Ricks, a cornerback from LSU. Obviously, Ohio State had their eyes on Elias Ricks and dropped out due to concerns about other cornerbacks going into the transfer portal. Elias Ricks is a stud. He knows how to play the game, and he will do just fine in Tuscaloosa. So I think that's kind of where I'm at with that. You know, these big-time schools, they don't rebuild. They reload, you know. I think that's said a lot, but they have the number 2 ranked recruiting class coming in this next year. You're not going to sit there and have to go through a 3-year, 5-year rebuild, you know? It's 1-year thing, and you're right back at it. I can almost guarantee you Nick Saban is not focusing on the loss that happened a week ago. Now he's focusing on getting back there this upcoming year. So that's kind of where I'm at now. You never want to give Nick Saban that opportunity to, tell his team, we lost now. Now it's your chance to go and get that back there. I think that's a dangerous thing for the college football world. I also want to bring some other points that, could potentially be big targets to whether the Tide could be back in. The SEC will be very competitive next year. Obviously, Texas A&M having their insanely good class that they had. Number 1 in the nation, number 1 of all time. True freshmen, they can make an impact, but it takes them a while to get on the field there. So we'll see what happens at Kyle Field. See if Jimbo Fisher takes a leap and just decides to start those big-time players early on in their careers. So that's kind of where I'm standing out in the SEC, because Alabama has to play Texas A&M again. Obviously, we saw Texas A&M beat Alabama earlier this year, but I don't know if lightning strikes twice there in that situation. But the funny thing about this is Arkansas is also going to be really good next year. Sam Pittman's done an incredible job. Alabama plays them back-to-back weeks. I think that's it's either you win or we're looking at no college football playoff here, or at least maybe no SEC championship. I know they're in different divisions, and if Alabama does get to the SEC championship, which is very likely, it's going to be very competitive there. And I think that's just something that needs to be looked at on whether Alabama can get back and how they will get back if that's their path that they're going to take. So I also want to talk about one last thing. Their secondary needs a lot of work. Obviously, their coach, Jay Valai, their cornerback coach, he's going over to Oklahoma. So that's going to need to be addressed there. But their secondary was absolutely horrid against Georgia. And the scoreline might not say it, but that fourth quarter really does say it. Kool-Aid McKinstry, he had some problems, and maybe Elias Ricks adding to that'd be good for the Crimson Tide. Obviously, you need to have that solid upperclassman telling the freshmen what to do, but Kool-Aid McKinstry's just burst on the scene there, and he just wasn't very good. So that's kind of where I'm thinking. Obviously, there's some other big-time cornerbacks there. It's not just those two guys, but that's kind of the relationship I'm looking at. Can Elias Ricks be that leader that Alabama needs him to be? And I think maybe not, and we'll see once we get closer towards week 1, we'll see. And one more thing, I know I said that was the last thing, but I kind of forgot about the wide receivers. Jameson Williams is going to the draft. John Mechie is most likely going to the draft. Now, who does that leave? That leaves Javon Barker, Ja'Cory Smith, and Trayshawn Holden. At least that's what I have as their prime Alabama wide receivers now. And they've been kind of shaky. They've just haven't caught balls when they really need to in big games. We saw the national championship game. It was shaky after Jameson Williams went down with that ACL tear. So, Bryce Young is going to need to lean on these guys, and I don't know if that's a good thing. And I know their head coach or their wide receiver coach, Holman Wiggins, he's done an amazing job. You look at the past 5 years of all the talent that he's produced in Tuscaloosa, but can he do it again? And I think that's something that you can expect of him, but it's also it's an uncertain. So I think that's what it takes for Alabama to get back to the national championship game. And, we can kind of count on that. At least I can count on that because for the past 10 years, we've really seen some complete and utter dominance from Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.